Hi, I'm Lacey Rodriguez and welcome to Hair Topper School, where I'm here to hold your hand through the transition from thinning hair to wearing hair. Now, I learned the hard way the damage that toppers can cause to your bio hair because I wasn't following these best practices. My first tip is to choose a larger base than you think you need. Most people, when they jump into topper wearing, they just want to get the smallest base possible. And they'll usually say, I'm just barely thinning through here, so I just want like a little piece to cover that up. Now, even a lot of companies will tell you to go with the smallest base for what you need, but I'm going to tell you that the larger the base, the less the damage for the most part. The reason that is because if you have a larger cap, the weight of the hair is going to be more evenly distributed. The way gravity pulls on your hair is going to be more comfortable to wear your topper when it's clipped in down here. That's for a couple of reasons. When you're clipping your topper in up here, because the base is so small, this is where we have the least amount of hair for the most part. That's going to mean that each clip is going to be clipping into fewer strands of hair, which means you're going to be putting extra pressure on each individual strand. What that means is it's going to break the hair off, it's going to pull it out, it's going to be really uncomfortable, and it's going to move and shift more. So when you have a larger base, it's not going to move and shift as much. It's heavier, so it usually will lay flatter than if you have a small piece that's, again, it's just going to be kind of moving a lot and it's actually harder to blend. So it's going to be laying flatter. It's going to be clipping into around here, which usually we have more hair there. So again, your clip is going to be grabbing more hair, which distributes the weight more evenly, and there's less pressure on each strand of hair. One thing to remember though, is that the larger the cap usually means the more hair you have. So that can also mean extra weight. However, in my experience, wearing the extra weight is still more comfortable than clipping in a smaller piece closer up here to where my thinning is. So I feel like it's a fair trade-off, and I've had a lot less damage with a larger base. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to be talking about some tips for if you already have a smaller base you're trying to make work. There are some things you can do to minimize the damage with that. A really important best practice is to only style your topper on a mannequin head. So you don't ever want to be like blow drying your topper while it's attached to your head. Again, any kind of pulling motion or movement is going to put undue stress on your bio hair. So you're going to want to get a cork or a styrofoam mannequin head, and you may need a clamp or a tripod or something to attach it to be able to, and some pins, some T-pins to pin it on. That way you can style to your heart's content because it's not going to be pulling on your bio hair. So I do all of my blow drying, round brushing, the bulk of my curling of my hair or straightening, everything on a mannequin head. Once I put it on my head, I can add a couple of little curls if I want to. I hold it down to brush through it just to keep it from moving or pulling. But most of the styling should be done off your head. The third tip is to make sure you're grabbing as much hair as possible when you're clipping it in. So again, this is helpful if you have more hair. So if you're clipping it in down here where you have more hair you can grab, that's going to be more comfortable. If you're feeling some pulling and you can feel the clips are kind of uncomfortable and you can feel individual strands kind of pulling, like you'll know what that feels like, you may want to either move some of these clips. If it's a really thin area that it's clipping into, you may want to try to move the clips to somewhere where you have more hair. Or another option is to replace those clips with some different clips. So I'm going to show you a couple of different kinds of clips and tell you what my preference is. There are these clips that have kind of like a back and forth pattern. In my experience, these are less comfortable. I feel like they don't grab on the hair as well, onto the hair as well, so you end up clipping into less hairs. My favorite kind of clips are these ones, that they have these long teeth, and they kind of scoop into your hair a little bit easier and are able to grab more hair. So if you have these clips, you may want to take them off and put these clips on. You can buy clips just on Amazon, and it's really easy to sew them on. Now, let's say you did all that and you still feel some pulling on the clips, or they're just uncomfortable throughout the day. Another option you can do is sew in some extra clips and then only clip some of them when you wear it, and then alternate which ones you're clipping. So if you have the traditional 4 clips on a topper and you decide that you want to sew in some more, you could sew in like 4 extra clips and then just alternate. Like some days clip in these ones and then on other days clip in the other ones. And then that will take off some of the repeated pressure in the same area, because that's also what causes traction alopecia, is just, you know, friction and pulling in the same area over and over. Here are my tips for thinning through here, through the front of your hairline, especially if you have a smaller topper. I consider a smaller topper anything from about under 7 inches. There are a lot of toppers that are 5 or 6 inches, and I feel like these are smaller. They're kind of considered a medium base, but that was the size I had that caused my traction alopecia, so I consider them kind of small. If your bio hair is really sparse right here through the front, you may want to consider getting a lace front topper. And what that is you can get either a silk or a mono top, but then there are some that come with the option of a lace front. So what that is you would cut that close to your hairline and then you glue it on. So you can either adhere it with tape or glue, and that way there's no clip or comb right here, and it keeps it very secure. It's not going anywhere. I love having that as an option, and that's what I wore while my traction alopecia was healing. Was I wore a lace front that I glued, and that kept it from having any extra pressure here so that those fragile hairs could grow back. Another option, if your hair is very thin through here, is if your topper came with a clip right there, you have the option of removing that and putting a comb. There are a lot of toppers, especially larger toppers, that come with a comb right there. That's because it keeps it kind of secure from moving around, but it doesn't clip into your hair, so it doesn't put as much strain on it. You can buy these on Amazon and just sew them in yourself. And they have wider combs that come out to about here, or these smaller ones, or you could do 2 small ones. Whatever you can do to customize it to make it comfortable so that it's not pulling on your hair right here. Something I think is essential, especially if you have a smaller cap, is a topper grip. You can put this on just like this. You use a comb to just kind of pull your hair over the top. It's the same concept as a halo extension, just backwards. Pull your hair out on top, and then you can clip, if your topper has a clip in the front or a comb, you just clip this right into this little strap. And then your topper is not clipping into that fragile piece in the front, it's clipping into the topper grip itself. The only thing I will say about this is that sometimes it will make your topper sit a little bit higher. So if you're already struggling with getting your topper to sit flat, this might make it a little bit harder to blend your hair in. But I think it's worth the extra effort and a little bit of this being lifted to prevent the damage on your hair. If you don't like the idea of the topper grip, you could try sewing in a halo wire into your topper. So what this will do is it will basically act like a built-in topper grip. This will go around the nape of your neck. You'll pull your hair on top of it, and then it will help hold the front of your topper down flatter to your head and keep it more secure. While toppers can sometimes have a bad rap for causing damage to your bio hair, if you follow these simple practices, maybe try some of these extra products, and do just a little bit of customization, you can avoid a lot of that damage and still enjoy wearing your topper.